Let's start. So first disclosure, I am not a real estate broker. I am a transaction manager and coordinator. So my job is to make sure that your file is complete and compliant according to our system here at Keller Williams. If you have any questions regarding your contract, how to negotiate, or what to do, you should go see your broker. Okay? So closing usually is about maybe a week or 2 weeks prior to recordation date. Things we're gonna go over today is what to check for to make sure that you are complete and compliant. What to schedule about 2 weeks prior to closing. Sending the DA to escrow, the settlement statement, the estimated settlement statement, and what to do the day of closing or day of recordation. So that would include getting clearance from escrow, doing a key exchange, changing your MLS status, and uploading SkySlope. So we're gonna go over SkySlope very briefly today as well. Is anyone familiar with SkySlope? Yeah? Okay, so I'll show you SkySlope. So SkySlope is basically a program we use here at Keller Williams, how to close the file and upload everything to make sure that it is compliant. We do have a compliant officer named Rob. He will check all of your contracts and everything that you have in there to make sure that it's good to go so you can have your check. Okay, so what to check for in compliance. So before you close, you want to make sure, and this is also when you open, you want to make sure that everything is signed and initials. All the docs are attached, that you have the standard addendum and both affiliated business disclosures. Is anyone familiar with what our affiliated business disclosures are? No? Okay. So, Keller Williams, we are partnered with a lending company, which is Debbie's one. That's Hawaii Lending, Capital Hawaii Lending. And we're also partnered with the escrow company, First Hawaii Title. So, whether you use them or not, it is required that we do have this ABA form signed. It's not required for the other party to sign unless you use them in the transaction. Then you must notify the other party. But if we don't use them, it's not required, but it is required by your clients. So let me show you what it looks like and where to grab it. So when you open escrow and have a contract, you'll go into your zip forms or SkySlope. They both have the same forms. And right here is the First Hawaii Title Affiliated Business Disclosure. So there's two. There's First Hawaii Title, which is escrow, and there's our lending company, Hawaii Capital. So just make sure that it is signed. Because there's some, I know when you first open, there's some confusion onto what is needed and what is not needed. But we do need those two from your client. Okay? Okay, you just want to make sure your co-op agreement is completed, lead-based pay, and if you are a listing agent and on the listing side, you do need a W-9 from the buyer's broker. Does anyone have any questions about that? Now, we do have W-9s that is stored in SkySlope, but if it's not in there, do ask the other brokerage when we open. So if you go to your SkySlope, and you go to working documents, You will see up here office docs. If you look up our company, there's W-9 forms. And these are all the W-9s that we have on file, such as Caldwell, Century 21, ADG Realty. If you are in a transaction with a company that's not here, be sure to ask the buyer for their W-9. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay. Okay, so make sure that all your contingencies are completed, such as the financing contingency, any disclosures, any condo docs or M1 docs, any receipts or repairs, credits, termite, and survey. So when you go into escrow, you should have all of this completed. So during escrow, you have all this completed, and now we are going into closing. So before you close, you just want to double check everything, make sure that everything is complete, and that you have all your signatures. Okay, so when you're closing, usually 2 weeks prior or 2 weeks prior, I will schedule the final walkthrough and the signing and the key exchange. So if you're on the seller side, if you're on the buyer side, usually the lender will schedule with your buyer the signing, because they do have to sign lending docs and all that. If you're on the seller side, it's still your duty either way. But the seller side, you don't have a lender, it's only you, so you would need to schedule signing with escrow. You do have a final walkthrough, so if you are on the buyer side, or if you're on the seller side, if you're on the seller side and there's any credits or if there's any repairs, make sure that the repairs are complete. Make sure that the cleaning is complete before you do the final walkthrough. Then you would sign and also do the key exchange. Key exchange, you can meet it here at the office. You can meet up with the other clients, or you can pick it up at their office. It's really up to you. I even have some clients who leave it in the lockbox at the property, and then the other agent picks up their lockbox after it's closed. But do be sure that the keys should be exchanged on the day of recordation, just so you don't have any, just because it's a liability if something were to happen prior to day of. Does anyone have any questions about what to schedule when they're near closing? Okay.
So about the utility?
Oh, utilities. So we do have a utility checklist on our KW intranet. So it would just be best, usually I just remind the clients, be sure to turn off your utilities on this day or whatever day you guys are closing, and be sure to let the other agent know, hey, we're going to turn off the utilities on this day. Please remember to have your agent, your client, take over on the following day. Okay, so is anyone familiar with green sheets, or has anyone completed a green sheet? No, okay, so when we first open escrow, we do green sheets. So I went over this in the last class. A green sheet is in your Keller Williams KW intranet. Once you complete that, Christy or Leah is Christy's assistant, she will send over to you a disbursement agreement or disbursement for your commission. It's basically instructions to escrow how to disperse your commissions. So once you get the DA, you will send that over to escrow. However, if you have any credits, such as not between the buyer and seller, but if you have a credit like between agent and client, you would need to ask Leah to revise the DA, and she can change it for you. Or if there's any changes as to the price, or if you need to add GET tax or something, Leah and Christy is the only one who can revise your DA. And that is because they are like they do our accountants, they handle our money, so they are the ones who can authorize to change your commissions or how the check should be broken up. Does anyone have any questions about that? No, okay. So once you get your DA reviewed, you would send it over to your escrow officer. Okay, estimated settlement from escrow. So before you close, you will receive a settlement from escrow. And you just want to review it, make sure that the credits in there are correct. If you have reimbursements such as condo docs or invoices, make sure it's in there, make sure the commission is correct. So for example, if you are on the seller side and does anyone else know who pays for condo docs? The seller, correct. Sometimes though, the agent will pay for the condo docs on behalf of the seller, and they will get reimbursed through escrow. So they will send the receipt to escrow, like, please reimburse me through escrow for this. So if you're looking at your settlement statement from escrow, make sure that the reimbursement is in there. Otherwise, you've paid for it. Make sure it's the correct amount. Also, if there's invoices such as cleaning, that kind of be the same situation. Like if you were to pay for the cleaning for your client and you would be reimbursed through escrow, make sure that that's all sent to escrow and then it's on your settlement statement, your estimated settlement statement.
So if seller is already paid by individually already, then no need to question it, right? You have to be in the escrow, or it doesn't matter, case by case.
Right. So if your seller paid for it on their own and you didn't front it for them, then it doesn't need to be in there. But that's just an example of what to look for. Also, if there's credits, such as you had a home inspection and the buyer wanted a $500 credit for a window or something, make sure that's correct in the settlement statement and it's the correct amount of $500. You guys have any other questions? So yeah, it is part of compliance to have the settlements, the estimated settlement statement, as well as the final settlement statement, or also known as HUD, in our compliance. Okay, day of recordation. So that is also known as when you close or when you get paid. These are the stuff that I would do on day of recordation. So first thing in the morning, you should obtain a closing clearance from escrow. And usually it's just an email from escrow saying, congratulations, you closed. And in there, there's usually closing docs. Make sure they have the satisfaction waiver and final settlement. So we talked about estimated settlement, now we need a final settlement. And the satisfaction waiver, make sure it is signed by both parties. Sometimes they'll send it to you in counterparts, and in there, the buyer signed one and then the seller signed the other. As long as you have both, it doesn't need to be in the same, in counterparts is fine as well. Does anyone have any questions? So usually escrow is pretty on it. If they don't email me by like 10 or 9:30, I'll email them like, hey, are we clear for closing? I've never come to a situation where we weren't clear, but you always want to make sure you're clear and obtain all your closing docs. Then, state of recordation, you would get your closing docs, you would do the key exchange, you would change your MLS status if you're a lister, and you would upload it into SkySlope. Now, if you're on the listing side and let's say you forgot to change the MLS status, you have 4 days to change it. Anytime after 4 days, you will be hit with, I think it's like at first they warn you, and then after that they fine you. So it could be like, I think it's like 400. It depends on how much times they have to remind you, I believe. So don't forget to change the MLS status. So uploading into SkySlope. So it depends on how you guys do your business. So usually I do SkySlope. Yes.
Can MLS status is that for the seller or buyer?
Only seller. So if you have a listing and you should have changed it when you open to in escrow showing or in escrow not showing. When you close, you need to change it to sold. And then when you change it to sold, you'll put the buyer in there, and also the selling price, and also if it's cash or financing, conventional VA. So just make sure you change your MLS status. Okay, and then uploading into SkySlope. So it depends on how you do your business. I do it at the end because that's when I can have all my documents, put it in there, and then split it up. If you do it in the beginning and you want to upload each document as they come, you can do that as well. I just do it at the end because it's faster. So I do transaction management, and if you're the type who wants it in there now, in the beginning, then I can do that as well. Otherwise, it will be at the end after I have all the documents. So let me show you how to upload into SkySlope.
Before you go, I have a question for this.
Yes.
Changing the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
You say was the status changing for sold,
Mm-hmm.
and then do I have to change myself to the new owner or information, or if I sold it and then automatically just kind of be updated?
So you mean in Hawaii information? Like
It's all whatever information in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then last time is I changing to the escrow not showing, and then go to the sold.
Mm-hmm.
After that, only that part changing, or do I have to individually to go or change the owner's new name, or I don't need to do that, right?
No, so that's what escrow does. So escrow will do all that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So MLS, so she's asking what other places do I need to change besides MLS? It's only MLS where you need to change the status. Anything to do with the deed, tax records, or anything that escrow will do. And usually it'll take, I think, a couple weeks or 2 weeks for it to show on like the tax records. Mm-hmm. Because it has to go through all of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go over SkySlope real quick or very briefly. Has anyone ever went into their SkySlope? Yeah? Have you closed in your SkySlope or?
No, I'm not started yet.
Oh,
I just go open and I just shut everything, but I don't know how to run it.
oh, okay. So you just like looked around. Okay, that's good. That's good that you go in there, get familiar with it. So SkySlope is where we store all our docs. That's where the compliant officer makes sure all the docs and your file is compliant. Once it is compliant and complete, it'll send a email to you and Christy, who's our NCA, and he'll let them know like file is complete and compliant, okay to release check, and then she'll release your check. because we don't want to release your check if you're not even fully complete and compliant. Because it is a liability, and we want to make sure that you create these habits to where you complete it before you do get your check. So that's why we have a compliance officer. Okay, so there's two things. If you are on the listing side, then to open, you must go manage listings. If you are on the buyer side, to open, you must go manage transactions. The difference is, if you go to manage transactions and you have a listing, it won't have the listing checklist on it. And then you need to go back, redo the whole thing through manage listings. Okay, so let's say we are on the buyer side. Yes. Oh, did you have a question?
The managed transaction is the buyer side.
Yes.
The listing is the seller side.
Seller side, yes. You want to remember this because I've done this on accident. I went to the managed transaction side. I opened the transaction. I did the whole thing complete. And then there was no listing checklist. So I had to go back and redo the whole thing through the listing side. Yeah. That's the difference. The different checklist is the managed checklist side. It will ask for the exclusive right agreement, your MLS input. It will ask for like the Hawaii information. It will ask for all those things. Okay, so let's pretend we are on the buyer side. So we'll go to manage transactions, and then we'll go to create transaction. Okay, I usually X out of this search for address because it's not always accurate. So let's say I am agent KWH. The MLS number, the street number, and then checklist type. Make sure it is purchase documents. Project sale is if it's like a brand new project and we don't need all the same documents as a regular resale. Lot and land is if you sold a lot and land. So it's different checklists, but the common one you will mostly always do unless you sell land or do like a new sale project. Yes.
Purchase sale is for the condominium for the brand new.
Yeah, so brand new. Even like Everside, they do have brand new homes there too. That's what it's for. So anything that's brand new. Yeah.
That means that they will build the apartment later, 1 or 2 or 3 years later. That's we can use in the project sale.
Mm-hmm. Project sale.
Okay.
And usually, if they don't build it till later, you don't get paid till later too. Till after.
After.
You usually, mostly always. So if you sold it and they don't build it and complete it till it's maybe next year, then you'll probably most likely not even get paid till it's finished and complete. Because they still, even though it's new, I don't know about every single one, but mostly you'll still need to do not appraisal, but like inspection and all that too.
They need to.
Not 100% always, but most of the time. Yeah. So like, also I'm a licensed agent. I do have my real estate license. I did sales, a couple sales when I first started, but I always found myself liking, I don't know why I like the back of the office. I'm just more of that type of personality, I guess. So that's why I started doing transaction management. So I did do project sales, I did do one, and they did do an appraisal and an inspection and all that. and final walkthrough still. But the papers they have, the contracts they have are different. Mm-hmm. Are you currently in one right now?
Yeah, that's why. Brand new.
Yeah. Which
The Ohana Highlight.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but I doing that one in the affordable.
Affordable.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you still have to qualify for the loan and all that
Yeah,
stuff too.
did everything already, and they opened the Escrow already.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
So
a little
same
bit
thing.
confusing for the green sheets and Skylock.
Sky slope
Yeah, and the green sheets.
and green sheet.
Yeah. Do I need to make the green sheets before the closing, right? 2 weeks, right? But not now.
Yeah, usually green sheets is 2 weeks prior, or I do it in the beginning. It can be any time from beginning to 2 weeks prior. We say 2 weeks prior because there's only one Christy and her assistant. There's I think like 300 something agents. She can only do so much, so you need to give her that time to create your DA. Mm-hmm.
The green sheet is the DA.
So the green sheet is so once you do your green sheet, it will send over to Christy. Christy uses that information to make the DA.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Then she'll send you the DA. So the green sheet is like a submission for the DA. Yeah.
We can take time to do it the green sheets. Well, we can do it right now. We can open the Escrow, or we can do it right now.
Yeah, you can do it any time from when you open the 2 weeks prior. I say 2 weeks prior is probably the latest time you should do it.
But the later time doesn't mean the whole thing, the Escrow.
Yes.
And is long time already. If the building is 2021,
Mm-hmm.
they build 2021.
Oh yeah, then
That's long time already.
Mhm.
And we know where we are. Right?
I would say more toward the end, maybe like a month prior or 2 months prior for the project that's in 2021.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
too early. We create the green sheet right now.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah. And then you won't get paid, or escrow won't close until it's completed anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions?
So sellers have to make the green sheet.
Yes, everyone has to do green sheets. So whether you're buyer, seller, the green sheet is what is submitted to Christy, our MCA, to create your DA. Your DA is the disbursement agreement, how to disperse your commission.
So where can I get the form?
So where to get the green sheet? Yeah, I'll show you. Let me finish this and then I'll show you about green sheets. Yeah, so I talk about green sheets very briefly in my other class too, how to open escrow. And then Christy, she does green sheet classes and DA classes, and she'll go more into depth about it. And then she'll talk about like the royalty fees, your split, taxes, and all that stuff. I just go over it very briefly. Yeah. Okay, so checklist type, you're most likely always going to do purchase documents unless you have a new project sale. Anything with this asterisk you want to fill out. And once you fill out, you'll go next, and you'll always fill out anything with the asterisk. So once that's complete, let me just pull up an example here.
I'm gonna go grab some lunch.
Once that's complete, it will look something like this. It will have on the top your contacts, your commissions, your checklist, your documents. You'll have all that. So once you open SkySlope, you'll be going to your checklist. And your checklist shows you all the things that's required, which is all this stuff. Now you have to submit or attach everything into what's required to complete the compliance. So let's see. I'll show you if you were to do it one by one, and then I'll show you if you do it at the end and you put everything together and then split it. So there's two ways you can upload documents. First one is by each segment. So if you wanted to get a KW escrow instruction sheet, that is required by our compliance. You would attach, you would upload document, you would go to the file where your document is and upload it. And then start upload. And then it will say pending. And if you wanted to view it to make sure it's the correct one, you would go to this paper clip right here. And this is not the real, this is just an example. And this is what, then it would come up. Okay? Now let's say you accidentally uploaded the affiliated business agreement, the ABA, and that's not the instruction sheet. So you have to delete it. You would go to this X right here, and you would remove. And then it would come up. Now let's say over here, a K2 survey report is required, but it's a condo. You don't need a K2, you don't need a survey for the condo. So you would write in the notes, NA or condo, or whatever your explanation is, why you don't have that. Then you would save the note. So when our compliance officer or Rob looks at it, then he's going to be like, oh, why isn't there this in there? And he'll refer to your notes. Oh, it's a condo. Okay. So that is one way to upload your documents. Another way is if you go to documents, and you can upload it as a bundle, as in one. So you would upload a document, go to the document you need to upload. Okay, then you would go to split. So this one here, can't really see it. This is the affiliated business disclosure statement, the ABA for First Hawaii title. So you would look up ABA, First Hawaii title. That's pages 1 to 1. Next one is our ABA Hawaii Capital Lending. So you would look for it. And then it should pop up. I like this way because it's faster instead of going back and forth and individually doing it. Okay, addendum. Now there's no, you know how there was the requirement and what the document was? There's no addendum document. There's like as is addendum, there's other doc, but there's no specific one for addendum number 1. So we would add this as an additional. So if you go additional, it says this additional closing document, additional sales document. I would put this under sales, this addendum. Okay, so let's just say all of this isn't applicable. We would split and assign. Go to checklist. Okay, so here it is pending. The ABA Hawaii Capital Lending and the ABA First Hawaii title. Now let's go to, remember we had that addendum. We put it to the sales, the additional sales document. It will be all the way at the bottom here. additional sales document. Then what I would do is I would just note what it is. Addendum 1. And whatever it is, let's say it's a price adjustment. Okay, and then save that note. Okay, now let's pretend we got all our documents and we split everything, or everything is complete and pending. Now we want to submit it to our compliance officer. So to submit, you'd have to go to Documents again and Email. So this is how you get paid. So a lot of people think, oh, they'll just upload the checklist and then they're done. No, you need to, Rob doesn't have time to go through every single transaction. You need to let him know, Rob is our compliance officer. You need to let him know that, you know, you're done and to come and check my file. So we need to email him through SkySlope. So if you go look up Rob, his email will appear. It'll automatically fill. And under message, I just put submitting for compliance. And then send. Then Rob has 48 hours to check your file. We give that 48-hour time frame because you know, there's only one of him. We close an average of over 100 plus transactions a month. He needs to go through every single file to make sure it's complete. So you have that 48, he has that 48-hour window. Now let's say you're missing something. Like let's say you forgot to put in the W-9 we talked about. Or it's the wrong W-9, or it's missing a signature. Rob will send you an email and say missing signature or missing W-9 or whatever it is you're missing. And then you'll need to go back, upload it, and then again, resubmit again. So resubmit or revising or whatever it is you're doing. You want to make sure that you have everything complete before you submit it, because if you guys are going back and forth, it's going to take time, you know, and that time, you know, you could have been paid maybe the first time, but because you keep forgetting stuff or you're missing signatures, you have to go back and forth, that delays your check more. So that's why I always say before you upload and before you do it, make sure it's complete. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about SkySlope or how to submit to our compliance officer?
This web, we have to search Fisher web. I just looked at it over here, it's just general information, so I don't know.
Oh, SkySlope?
Yeah.
When did you sign on? Do you have a SkySlope? Okay, so usually when you sign on, you'll get your zip form account, you'll get your KW account, and then you should also get your SkySlope account. If you don't have it, you can email me or David, and David is the one who will set you up.
Oh, that's the one he emailed me, that's the meeting we had set up, that's the one.
Oh, okay, yeah, so he should set you up.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So he'll set you up on all this.
Okay. So that's one.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I didn't even know what SkySlope was, so I feel like maybe I wasn't advanced enough in this training today.
Okay, did you
I just signed up last week, so I mean.
Oh, okay, welcome.
I didn't know what it was, but I just explained that eventually.
Yeah, so once you sign on, so if you're brand new and you don't have your, like you just got your license, it's usually like anywhere from 2 weeks to 1 month, depending on the DCCA. So you'll sign up, you'll get your license, you'll get your number, then you'll get your MLS number. Then after you'll get your intranet, your KW, the sky slope, you gotta get your GET. So usually when agents, I know it's so exciting and you wanna go, but it is like about I'd say a little bit more than 2 weeks to 4 weeks to set everything up. And it's mostly because you have to wait on the DCCA. And then once you get your DCCA, then you can go into HBR and get your MLS account. And then you can get your zip forms. There's a lot of things we're basically waiting for. So, but it's good to know what to expect. It's good to know what you're signing up for, because when you first start, most of the time they don't even know, okay, I got a SkySlope account, what is that for? Or, okay, I have it, So it's good to, you're not really jumping the gun, but it's good to know. And then I know you had questions about Green Sheet. So Green Sheet, so when you meet up with David, he'll also give you your KW account too. So let's go into my KW. Okay, so once you're set up in our system, you'll have a profile like this. And this, you can have your technology, your marketing. This dashboard, I should say, is where you can have, you will find everything. You'll find the documents, you'll find your Green Sheet, you'll find marketing in there. So let's just go over Green Sheets. If you go into technology and you go Green Sheet, it will bring you to this page. Then you'll go here to create new Green Sheet. And then please note, always put no. So even if you are a listing agent, still put no. And then it's going to ask you, is this a KW listing? You still put no, even if it is. Because if you put yes, it will reroute you to the KW, it will reroute you to another page. So just put no. Okay, so whatever is asked, whatever's pink, highlighted pink and the asterisk, you must fill out. So, like for example, this isn't pink, you don't have to fill it out. Next section, sales price, say 500,000. It's most likely a percentage, and that's 2.5. Yeah, so whatever is pink, you would fill out. So once you finish this, you would submit it. Okay? That's how you go to Green Sheets. It's not hard at all. Once you open Escrow, this is all information that you'll already have, such as escrow number, escrow company, the purchase contract, the dates. You'll have all this information already once you open.
They automatically.
Oh no, it doesn't automatically fill. You'll have this information on you, so you just put it in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We still have to put it in.
Yeah. So does anyone have any questions with that? So you should attend Christy's Green Sheet classes, because she'll go more into depth, like about it. So for example, agent detail. She'll go more into depth about it and how to do it. But it's not hard, it's very simple. It is a little bit time consuming, and that's why agents hire transaction coordinators, because we do think like, I would do this for you, I would do your sky slope, I'll do all of that. But it's good to know about it and good to know so you know what to expect, what the expectations are. However, a lot of agents hire TC and TMs because they don't want to do the back work. They want to focus more on selling and doing front work and marketing. Yeah. And this stuff is not hard at all. It's just, it can be time consuming and it can take away time from what you need to do, what you're selling. Okay, so let's go back. So day of recordation, you changed your MLS, you uploaded the sky slope, you submitted it to Rob, you have all your documents. Oh, we talked about that. So tips to remember, okay, so once you submit your compliance, it will go to Rob. Rob will review it. If it's all complete and compliant, he'll email Christy because on the day of recordation, Christy will get your check from Escrow. Okay? And then she'll hold on to it. She won't release it unless your sky slope is done and completed. Okay? So tips to remember, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. This is just something we talk about all the time in mostly all of the classes. Make sure that you always email everything. If it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. If you have some verbal agreement, make sure you put it also in an email. And also, just remember how to submit your sky slope. So, like I said, a lot of times they'll finish their sky slope and then they forget to submit it. Or if they need to revise or add something to their sky slope, they forget to resubmit again. So always remember to submit it. Okay? You guys have any questions? Okay. So maybe next month you guys can attend my How to Open Escrow.
Next month.
Next month, yep.
Okay, I will check out.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.